Hello, Gail. How you doing?
Hi, Paul. Thank you for inviting me. I'm well.
So, what I'd like to do is go over uh, some of the products that you offer and how people can purchase those products and improve their health. How to use your products because you sell essential oils and other things, and then go over some of the products that I offer on my store. So the idea of this video is to try to get people up to speed on how to improve their health, and then let's go over some current events that pop up in your mind, and I'll give you my 2 cents.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, for most of you viewers, I'm Gail Angeles from Rainbow Food Rocks, Rainbow Healing Wellness, and Rainbow Herbals. And most of your viewers already know me. But I wrote this book, Rainbow Food Rocks. It's 128 recipes that are wheat-free, dairy-free, corn-free, soy-free, egg-free, peanut-free, but not taste-free. And they also work for people that are vegan and vegetarian. Although if you eat meat, you can just add meat back into the recipes. So I started off with this book and kind of took off from there. I made this for my children, and I had no idea that this would turn into a whole civil liberties movement and everything else that has transpired since then. But I wrote this. It's a great handbook for if you're looking for soups, salads, desserts, smoothies, something to drink, some basics that you can always have on hand to use to make other things. And so I started off with this, and then I expanded into, oh, wow, well, what about essential oils? So I started researching essential oils and came up with a whole bunch of ways to help the body heal itself, not just from food, but with oils. And from there, we went into starting to make body products, right, Paul? So I started making for you the Even Better Bar and the Pure Natural Deodorant. And everything I do is organic or better than organic. I just want to say that. Same with anytime I make food for people and such. And so we have these, and then I also offer services, which we can go into later. What specifically would you like me to talk about with the products, Paul?
Well, I mean, you sell a lot of essential oils, and some people don't know how to use them. Maybe you can do a few use cases to.
Sure. Would you like to give me permission just to kind of show people the website? I have
Yeah.
all of these notes written, but it's easier if we go on the website just because people are watching, so it gives them a visual.
All right. Nice. I
And
gotta
then
make
remind
note.
me at the end to give you permission back, by the way.
All right, there you go.
All right, so let's share the screen. Share screen. Okay, so let's go share. So this is rainbowherbals.com. I have two websites. There is Rainbow Foods Rocks and I'm sorry, Rainbow Food Rocks and rainbowherbals.com. Both separate ones. I started off with Rainbow Food Rocks thinking I was just going to write recipes for my kids in this book. And then once I started opening up a store, I realized, okay, I need something different and came up with this. So if we go here to shop now and click, you'll see I actually am offering someone's music on here now as well. I don't know if I told you about that, Paul, but I'll pull out the CD so people can see too on the little screen. But so you can see there's Open Strum here, and this is all for donation. This is a gentleman in
Is
Canada.
this? I just want to. It's death metal.
Death metal. No, death metal. Get it right, Paul. Come on.
All right.
Death
I wish I.
metal, not death metal.
All right.
Pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me. We got to be entertained here, right? Okay, so Open Strum, great music. Just wanted to say that because I haven't organized it in my little thing, so it comes up right away. So I thought, okay, well, let's mention that. And you see the digital book and the physical book, right? And so you can see a bunch of services I offer: yoga and consulting, coaching, spiritual counseling, yada, 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 Reiki. I'm like a walking wellness center. So getting to the products, let's start with the bars since you carry those, Paul, and then we can kind of go into the oils and what they do. But you can see right here the Pure Natural Deodorant Peppermint Lavender Tea Tree. So if we click that and scroll down, it tells you exactly what's in it. So you can see it's aluminum free and baking soda free, because a lot of the deodorants that are out there, you'll see that they have either aluminum, or if they don't have aluminum, they'll have the baking soda, and that can be an irritant. And so I have that omitted from my recipe. And
All
then,
right, let's just clarify that there's no aluminum and no baking soda.
correct, it's aluminum free and baking soda free. Yes, thank you for clarifying. And so the ingredients are arrowroot powder, and again, everything is organic. Beeswax, shea butter, coconut oil, and then the essential oils that I bottle. This one has peppermint, lavender, and tea tree. Now, these oils are coming from Nisarga Organic Farms in India, and it's coming straight from the farm to me in big, big, big containers. I get shipped these oils. So there isn't a middle person. It's not like I'm going through doTERRA or Healthy Living or some other person. I'm going straight and getting this from the farm, and I'm bottling it, and then I'm using it to make products. And this deodorant, I literally carry around in my backpack all over, because here in Arizona, it's pretty hot. So, I mean, it doesn't really need much explanation, but to use the deodorant, you know, pop it open. I'll show you what it looks like. And then you can see it's like a tube, and then you just apply. So very, very simple. And the other one is citrus herbal. I'm just going to show quickly. Let me go back so people can see the ingredients. So the citrus herbal, it's almost the same formulation. The only difference is the oils I used. I used cedarwood, lemon, rosemary, and bergamot. And what I find is usually the women, but not always, but usually the women gravitate toward the peppermint, lavender, tea tree. And the gentlemen gravitate towards the citrus herbal. Now, which one do you like, Paul? I can't remember.
I
Is it
prefer citrus,
you
actually.
prefer the citrus, yes, and you're a male, right? So there you go. So that's what I'm finding when people make their purchases, and I'm not sure if that's the same for you. I mean, it's interchangeable. It's not like one is meant for a male and the other one for a female. I mean, some males like love lavender also, and peppermint. So it just depends. But that's what I generally see. And then let me go to the Even Better bar. So this was something that I created from what you used to sell, Paul, was the it wasn't Even Better. What was it called? It was the
All-purpose bar.
yeah, the everything bar. I think it was like the
Everything.
bar. And so I created this one even better than everything else, was my thought, because I took that idea and just looking at the ingredients and said, well, I think I can make this even better. So that's how that came about, as the Even Better bar. So it's an all-purpose bar or all-purpose balm. And again, it comes just like the deodorant, so you can carry it around your backpack easily and apply it very easily. And I'll just kind of show what it looks like. Slightly orange compared to the deodorant, and that's because of the mango butter. So I'll read off the ingredients again, all organic. But I think it's important for people to know that it has beeswax, calendula oil, comfrey oil, shea butter, mango butter, and then essential oils or seed oils of peppermint, eucalyptus, lavender, sea buckthorn, tea tree, carrot seed, helichrysum, jojoba, rosehip, and then I added vitamin E, which is derived from olives. And I just wanted to point that out too, because I often read about people concerned about vitamin E. So I sourced this one from olives. So going into the bar, I mean, this is an all-purpose bar, so you can use it for cuts, scrapes, bruises, bites, scars, irritated skin, soreness, arthritis, headaches, eczema, and so much more. I personally love it for when mosquitoes bite me out here in Arizona, especially in the summer. You just put that right on, and in a minute or two, it goes away. Now, likewise, if you don't have the bar, if you have my lavender oil, for instance, the same thing, the lavender oil, just put it directly on the mosquito bite. It'll take away the itch. If you really don't have any of those, you can use a banana peel. I kid you not, it sounds ridiculous, but you can use a banana peel and apply that to your mosquito bite. But getting back to the bar, I mean, Paul, you carry this around, if I'm not mistaken, and you really like it. Why don't you tell people what you like about it? And I'll just put the screen back to normal for a second while you talk so people can see you.
Well, I have always thought, like, I have always thought that people that purchase products, especially products that are to improve your health, to try to have something that's dual purpose. Now, not every product can be dual purpose, but many are dual purpose. And what I like about the Even Better bar is that it has that dual function. And, if you have, let's say you're working out and you have a sore muscle, you're going to be able to use this product and just rub that on the muscle. And literally in about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, your muscle, you don't feel the pain at all, or it's diminished a lot. So, and this product also can be used, like you said, for bug bites to reduce the itch. But I see it also as a way to help with acne, minor acne, or other skin irritations that someone may chronically have, to apply it, and to help with that sort of treatment, the dermal treatment. So just the idea of it being a dual purpose
And
is what.
anti-aging for the skin, you said you also use it for like
Yeah. So people need to also realize that these ingredients that you're using in this bar, you can apply even if you don't have a problem with your skin, right, per se. You can apply it on skin throughout the day, and you'll start to notice that your skin is actually getting smoother. So, this can be used as just a regular skincare product on top of, a healing ointment kind of, product, on top of, muscle pain products. So, if you go to the store and try to buy individual products to solve these different issues, it would be well over $100, well over $100 of a basket of products to handle eczema, bug bites, skincare, muscle pain, right? Acne, whatever. So, for $28, you're getting a really high quality, long lasting product that you can have in your medicine cabinet, or you travel around or whatever. It's easy to carry. So I like the idea of it being dual purpose. That's what gravitates. I like to put products on the store that have dual purpose. Not every product is like that, but I really try. Like for example, the silver gel that has dual purpose also, right? It neutralizes pathogens, but it also can be used as a skincare and a healing care product. Because you'll get a cut, and people don't realize you can speed up the time by one, keeping it clean by neutralizing pathogens, right? But also, um, the even better bar, the ingredients in it, you'll notice that a cut will heal quicker than not applying it. The same thing with structural nanosilver. They work differently, but it's the same idea. It's a dual purpose product that helps skin healing. So that's the main reason why I like it. Plus, it's all natural ingredients. So it's a product that I think everyone should have in their medicine cabinet. At least one bar. If they have a big family, they probably need multiple bars. But the thing is that this kind of product, it's like the Swiss Army knife for dermatology.
I love that. That's a great analogy.
So it has this dual function, and I that's why I like it so much. But let's
I want to
pivot.
say something actually before you pivot. I know you're about to pivot to something else. Before you pivot, I just want to say that I also encountered that. Let's say I don't have my Even Better bar on hand. I always carry my deodorant everywhere I go. And I found that even the deodorant will work for a lot of those functions. So like say I have gotten bitten by a mosquito and I'm like, oh man, I don't have my Even Better bar and don't have some lavender oil, but hey, I have my deodorant. I kid you not, I've even just used this to like help, or like my daughter's skin, like she had some dry skin. Like obviously.
But would that work with citrus or just the lavender version?
Let me look at the ingredients. Let's see. I've only done it with the peppermint lavender for the mosquitoes, but for other purposes, I've used the citrus herbal. So that's a good question, because the lavender, I think, is the primary force that's helping take away the itch. But to my point, I mean, it's it's definitely more than, you can get more than one thing out of it.
So let's pivot to the essential oils that you
Sure, let
have.
me go back to sharing the screen. So just give me a moment because I think maybe we could go over the essential oils that are used in it so people understand the power of the essential oils because they are so powerful. Let me get back into this. Okay, it shows I'm sharing the screen. Perfect. So I have the bars on hand, but if we go, oh yeah, by the way, it says I'm sold out of soap. I actually do have the peppermint back in stock, and now I have lavender. So I haven't updated that, but I will very soon, just so you know. Okay, so let's go with citrus herbal blend. So there's bergamot in that. So let's look at all the different properties of bergamot. So this one, I found what was interesting about bergamot was, I don't know if I wrote it down on here, but I have it over here. It
Is
has,
all your essential? I just quick question. Is all your essential oils cold pressed?
I believe so. Let me double check with the,
I mean, if you don't know, it's okay. But I'm just curious.
I think so. Let me double check. I don't have my cheat sheet available for that.
No, I mean, you don't have to answer the. I mean, you can get back to me on it. I'm just
Yeah,
curious
yeah.
because Dr. Group focuses on cold pressed.
I believe they're all cold pressed. There's something that, oh, the hydrosols, which is not an essential oil, those are steam distilled. But
Right.
let me just go through quickly. I believe they're all cold pressed. Yeah. Yeah, the ones I carry are all cold pressed. Okay, so getting back to the hydrosols are steam distilled because it's the steam that's collected. Oh yeah, let's quickly just talk about that. So hydrosols, pure hydrosols are the steam that is collected when you're distilling, creating the oil. So they collect the steam, and then that liquid form is also something that is medicinal, but it is not the same as the essential oil exactly. But getting back to bergamot, because I don't want to digress. So bergamot has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. And when combined with eucalyptus, it's actually been shown to be helpful for herpes simplex. And you do want to be careful of being in direct sunlight if you've used it directly, on your skin. That's something to mention. But it has antibacterial properties and has helped with strep and staph infections. And you can also use it for like a flavoring if you want to. Best when you're doing mixing with essential oils, it's best to mix them in with honey if you're going to take them internally or to have something like honey within. But that's just a side note.
Why? Just because you just want to add sweetness to it, or?
Not necessarily, no. So let's say I were to, actually I did this recently. So I wasn't feeling well a few months ago. So I took some bergamot and mixed it in with honey and then took it internally. And if I had just taken the bergamot, put it in the water and taken it, it kind of would have stayed in my mouth. But by mixing with the honey, then it allows for it to actually go down into my digestive system more effectively and appropriately.
I see.
And
So it doesn't get soaked into some of the cells in the upper
yeah,
tract.
exactly. If you're doing something stronger, like I do thyme and oregano oil sometimes, that can really burn your mouth and your throat. So if you don't mix it with honey first or something similar before ingesting it, then it can really kind of wreak havoc in the system. Okay, so
For a use case for this, top two use cases for bergamot.
for bergamot, I'm gonna think. So I know that it has protected against malaria and has been used to expel intestinal worms, but I personally have used it for taking it internally and flavorings. So, it just depends on what someone's looking to do with it.
Okay.
And bergamot's not actually one I use all the time, to be really honest. My go-tos, like let's say I had to pick my top ones that I carry all the time would be peppermint, tea tree, lavender, which is why they're always so common, right? But lavender is quite expensive if you want to get really good quality. And then what else do I always carry? I always carry oregano oil, but I don't sell that in the store. And That's another go-to that I always have. Eucalyptus. So that would be probably number 4 out of what I
No,
keep.
but like use cases, like the key here is, I think the problem here, Gail, is that there's a lot of products here that are good, high quality products, but people don't know what they use it for.
So if they, here, let's go over that then. So if they
Like for example, let me give you an example.
thing, they'll see all
You
the
know,
ways that I use
like
it.
good night formula, all right? They know what it is. It keeps them asleep, right? Right? You know, so the thing is that the idea is that with rosemary, what's the top 2 use cases for using your essential oil rosemary?
So I'll tell you how I use them. Let's do that then. Instead of me going and showing how I've written up all these little details, I'll just go through each one and quickly say 1 or 2 uses that the way I use them, because I can't give medical advice. I'm not a medical professional, so I have to like trip over my words and not say too much anymore like I used to, which is really challenging. So we already went over bergamot. Blue chamomile, I would say my top use for that is relaxation and diffusing it for relaxation. Carrot seed oil, my top use is, and this is also an even better bar, is for my face to help with sunburn and to help with skin issues. Cedarwood essential oil, that one I use in my scorpion repellent. And I also really like the smell of this one compared to other ones that I've smelled before. And I'm going to go through these really quickly because there are a lot of them. So cinnamon leaf, I use that for my scorpion repellent, and I also use it in my shampoo that I make for myself and I custom make for other people. Cypress wood is really great for if you have varicose veins, and cellulite. So those would be the top 2 uses for that. And I've put it on my skin mixed with coconut oil for those uses. Eucalyptus, I've used mostly to apply to the chest, again, having some coconut oil or something else with that, and also diffusing it to help with respiratory. Frankincense, I have used either in shampoo or I have used just putting directly on the wrist, usually for meditation purposes. But it can be used for many different things. Again, I'm just going over how I use these, because I use my oils daily in many different ways all the time. I really live with these. Ginger, it's food grade, so I have put it in some recipes, but my main uses are for shampoo. And I'm trying to think if there's any other main use right now. Really, the shampoo is my biggest use. Oh, and throat drops. I do custom make throat drops where I use ginger, lemon, and sweet orange. And so I have put the ginger directly down the throat, even though I usually don't do that. I usually say mix with honey. I have put a drop of ginger directly down the throat when I've had a sore throat, which has helped immediately for me personally. Jojoba is a carrier oil. It's wonderful to just use all over the skin. It's really similar to the skin's sebium or cibium. How do you pronounce that? I'm not sure. Then lavender, oh my God, this is like my favorite. So, I mean, like I said, I use it for the mosquito bites. I use it for diffusing to help the kids sleep at night. I put it in shampoo. I put it in the deodorant. Is this one? I think this one's also an even better bar. Yes, it's in the even better bar. Lavender has so many uses. Almost everyone knows of lavender nowadays. And then lemon, that's the one I'm using in the throat drops. I use it in my scorpion repellent, and I use it for flavoring. It's great for certain recipes. Neem seed oil. Neem can be used for teeth. I don't believe the one I carry is for teeth, though. It can be used to help with your nails. I actually don't use neem that often anymore. I was using it for my daughter's eczema until I created the Even Better bar. And then that was even better. Pine, let me finish this because I do want to touch upon what we're talking about, but let's just finish this for the sake of consistency. So patchouli, I diffuse that with the lavender at night to help my kids sleep. Peppermint, peppermint's just another go-to that I carry everywhere with me. It's just uplifting. It smells good. It's great for diffusing. It's great for the skin. It's in the Even Better bar. It's in one of the deodorants. And it's great for shampoo. Rosemary helps, stimulate the hair growth. That's why I have, like this nice poofy hair. I put rosemary in my shampoo. Again, I diffuse that, like I mentioned earlier, for the cucaracha stuff that I'm not going to be able to say because of censorship. Let's make this funny for your viewers. Okay, sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn. This one is amazing for the skin. It's in the Even Better bar. I use it on sunburn. So I use it in my shampoo. It's really great for hair and skin. Sweet orange, that again was the throat drops, the scorpion repellent. It smells good. It can be used mixed in with chocolate to make delicious tasting chocolates, because these are food grade oils for the ones that can be taken internally. So tea tree, I went over earlier about diffusing. A lot of people are familiar with tea tree, but it's good for fungal. It smells great when you diffuse it. It helps clean the air. It's one of the ones that help with mold. If someone has had mold in their house, tea tree, rosemary, thyme, those are great for diffusing. And then ylang ylang, or depending on how people want to pronounce it, I pronounce it ylang ylang just because I think it sounds fun that way. That one I love for an aphrodisiac. So if I want to, feel extra like, ooh, baby, I'll put that one on my wrists, and I put it in my shampoo all the time. So I'm like, it smells good. It can be used in food products as well. And so for me, I just put it directly on my wrists and in my hair and such. It does repel and kill lice. Not that I have a problem with that, but just something to mention as a great alternative to somebody using, I don't know what they use, like Rid or something for lice. Lavender, we went over ad nauseum. So lavender's great. Oh, wait, here, this is the hydrosol though. So hydrosol works differently. So if you have sunburn on your face, lavender hydrosol is amazing for that. I once had a contact stuck in my eye for like a week, like a piece of contact, and my eye kept getting red and irritated. And this lavender hydrosol I kept spraying on my eye helped so much. And eventually that piece of contact did come out of my eye, and I did not have to go get it removed, thank goodness. So that was a lifesaver. That's just wonderful. The rose hydrosol, really great for the skin. I use it in my toner every day. And I use this rose hydrosol with the sandalwood hydrosol to make a toner with witch hazel and George's distilled aloe. So these are just really nice. Sandalwood's high vibrational, and this sandalwood, the hydrosol, and the actual oil, which I'm not showing on here, they are hard to get pure versions of because India does not allow it to be exported. So the fact that I carry these items is pretty unique for the quality. And then it just goes into some other products that I have, like I make nettle salt, and it's actually organic nettle. I need to change the sticker, but I didn't put the asterisk and say that. And then I also am a certified home baker, so I bake goods. This is just one example of my most popular, which is the rainbow cookies. In New York, I grew up loving these rainbow cookies, and I had to make a healthy version that was everything free, like my recipe book, and I came up with this. And so whenever I do events, I bring samples and people can purchase these and then special order them for holidays. All right, so getting back to our other conversation, let me stop the share. I want to go into what you were saying about the censorship and how we can't really talk. So now people have the overview of how I use the oils, even though there's way more to learn as they click along.
Right. So just to reiterate the essential oil usage. If the ones that are listening, just go to the website and click on the product and read the description on some of the other use cases, so you get a better idea how to use this. But it's a great way to help support Gail in her store, so and to improve your health. So please go to her store, and the link will be in the description of this video and all the videos that I've done with Gail. So click that link and go to her store and help support. And both of our stores sell the bars. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, so you can buy it from him or you can buy it from me. I'm making it, and I'm
well. The thing is that to save, for them to save safe shipping if there's nothing on my store that they're going to buy, and they, want the bars, and they want, essential oils too, or rainbow cookies, because I don't make rainbow cookies. It makes more sense to buy from your store. But if you're going to be buying, toothpaste and some of the nano silver products, it makes more sense to save on the shipping by buying from my store. So the idea is that, when you do buy a product on my store, it is helping Gail out, because I purchase her products. So, so I mean, there's this, there's a synergistic effect here. So censorship, yeah, what I have noticed just covering even the Israeli war with Hamas, or talking about certain things about Ukraine with John Hogue, there's just certain things we just can't say, and that is, things that took place, at the tail end of November of 2020, or things that took place between 2020 to present day. There's just certain things you just can't say, so you have to just kind of tiptoe around it or use code words. And once you build up a following, they know exactly what you're saying. It's almost similar to what was going on with E5. Everyone knows about E5, right? I don't want to say it, but
Yeah.
the thing is that people were banned for talking about certain types of technology that was being installed, and David Icke, was heavily censored about talking about that type of technology that was being installed. And
Can
so
we say
people
his
can't
name
really.
without being censored now?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. But the thing is that, there is censorship, but it goes beyond that, Gail. It really goes beyond just tiptoeing around current censorship guidelines, right? With the crisis that happened in 2020, or what happened near the end of the year in terms of the Electoral College. But it there's lawfare now that's going on with candidates. There is a scaring tactic with journalists. There is the shadow banding and the intimidation. I feel, and I had this conversation with my brother a couple days ago. I feel that we are no longer in the free country that we were born in, and that everything that we were warned about with Ayn Rand and Orwell with 1984 is playing out now. It's a combination of Ayn Rand, Huxley, and Orwell, just kind of like put it into a blender. And just look at what's happening in New York. All right. You have people literally that are saying, we don't like what's happening. You have citizens that are either, liberal or conservative, but you have citizens now that are even on the liberal side saying that the government is going too far with the immigration and, and housing. I mean, these individuals are going to get a $10,000 debit card from taxpayer money. Meanwhile, they have to cut services for the police and for the firefighters, garbage pickup, and all these other services that a modern society normally has. So New York is stressed, and I'm sure that it's happening not just in New York, but in other major metropolises in the United States. So if you try to fight them, if you try to question their authority, they go after you. There's an attack. And so now businesses are so worried that they may get a judgment that maybe they can be in appellate court or the appeals court, right? But they get a judgment against them that is so astronomical because someone doesn't like them, that that it could put them in bankruptcy. So you have people
Recommend that.
established in business that are they're thinking about leaving New York because of this crazy lawfare that's happening. Businesses are, it's not just T. It's not just Mr. T, right? Getting affected by this. So this goes back to remembering what happened to Mike Adams, what happened to Alex Jones, what happened to David Icke,
Yep.
and what happened with Mr. T. And I'm not talking about the guy that's wearing a bunch of gold around his neck.
Yes.
Right? I'm talking about the one that's running for president of the United States. So Mr. T,
Clarify in case they didn't
yeah.
know.
So President T or Mr. T, right?
Mr. T. Mr. T.
You know,
grew up, right?
right. So Mr. T, you know, is being banned. Well, you know, Alex Jones was banned. I believe the ban on him on YouTube was 2018. May have been 2017, but I think it was 2018. So he was banned. Mike Adams was banned on social media. And that was what basically was the genesis for Brighteon.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, others have been banned at different times, like Crowder and David Icke is heavily banned. I don't think he even can travel to Australia for this. So I think they banned him from even traveling to certain countries.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so there's this problem. So if people were saying, it's only Alex Jones, it's only David Icke, it's only Mike Adams. Well, the problem is that they were the bellwether. They were way out there in the ocean, and they got the first wave of the tsunami that was coming, called tyranny, the tsunami of tyranny, right? And now it's at the shores of every coastline in America. And, you know, and people are not going, oh, you know, I'm shadow banned, or, oh, I'm this. And, well, you know, you should have paid attention. Because Alex Jones said that if you can Alex Jones, then they're going to Alex Jones everybody. And that's exactly what is happening on Spaces at times, or definitely on YouTube and, you know, and other media. I mean, just look at what happened with Tucker when he was interviewing Putin. You had mainstream media trying to cancel him, even though it's harder to cancel. I think one of the lessons learned, with Ackman, who spearheaded the whole Harvard issue that was going on with Claudine Gay, the hedge fund guy. So Ackman or Kid Rock, you know, people would say, how's Kid Rock and Ackman, some hedge fund guys, similar? They can't be canceled. You have to put yourself in a situation you can't be canceled. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't in that situation because they're not financially secure or independent, emotionally and financially. But once you reach that emotional and financial, you know, FU moment, then you can't be canceled. And that's where the Ted Nugents and the Kid Rocks, the Ackmans. So far majority, what's the big takeaway on this? The big takeaway is that because most people in America are dependent on something, that they don't have their FU moment, and they are cancelable. You can cancel them, and you know, so people walk on eggshells. So like, you know, I'm looking back at 4 years of content and trying to navigate, and I had 2 channels blown up during the process, you know, covering the news between 2020 and now, right? And there's still a lot of censorship, but, you know, ad revenue, just by, you know, being demonetized on YouTube, I've lost over $100,000 in ad revenue. Now, most people could not absorb that shock. The average person could not absorb a $100,000 shock. All right. But but the thing is that now these channels that did survive through the crisis, that are now just starting to get monetized again. And I have 2 channels that just started the monetization, even with the lower viewership. You know, the income stream that's from ad revenue is minuscule, just a tenth, or maybe a 20th of what it was during, you know, uh, you know, covering the crisis in 2020 and 2021. So there is this, people have to be careful. And this is the reason why I said, there's certain things that just can't be said, because if they're allowed to be put on to the video and you take the risk of putting it on YouTube, you can get another strike. Let me give you an example, Gail. I was interviewing Peter Duke for his new book, okay? And I opened up the show with questions so people could ask about the book.
Yeah, you
Well,
told me.
some guy on X started talking about the crisis and the government's solution of the crisis. And I played it, and during the live stream, it was shut down by YouTube. All right. But the live premiere, the premiere that I did in the middle of it.
Mhm.
So I couldn't even, and here's the problem. There's two problems to this. One is the censorship of YouTube, but it's also the discernment of people that you open up the line for them to talk about a book, and they don't even talk about the book. They don't ask a question that's related to the author and what the author is talking about. It's something totally different that ends up putting another strike on a channel that can't be monetized.
In other words,
Well, thank you very. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say the person that did this, but thank you very much for causing more problem. See, it's not just the censorship, but the discernment of the truther community, realizing that sometimes just shutting up is better to be able to get the word out. It sounds counterintuitive, but by just being a loudmouth on channels and have no financial repercussions for being a loudmouth ends up hurting informing the public on important things. So thank you very much for causing other problems on YouTube for me. To this interview, not to you, but no. But the thing is that people need to be more discerning, and so this conversation about censorship is much deeper than just the censorship of the government and the censorship of technology and these social media networks and the cancelization of certain people, but it's also the discernment of the alternative movement or the truther movement or whatever you want to call it, because sometimes their mouth makes it worse.
I understand.
And a lot of people don't want to hear that, because they assume that everything that they say and everything they do is right and
allowed.
allowed and righteous. There's a certain righteousness that's assumed by some of these people without having some sort of discernment as we navigate through tyrannical times.
Well, I think there's also that we were brought up to believe we have freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom, certain freedoms. They're instilled, well, they were instilled in us when we grew up. Like I went through the New York school system. And so you believe these things, and now we're going through a time period where we have to self-censor and use discernment and be really careful. Not that we shouldn't always just, use discernment. I think in general, we should always, but it becomes very tricky to navigate through. And then, there are more and more words that we have to be more and more careful not to say. I truly am finding it very challenging unless I'm behind a paywall on someone's show, which is probably why I didn't even think about the word I had said, because I had just gone on Tradcat Night's show 2 nights ago, or 2 days ago, I should say. And so I didn't think about that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I can't say that. Like it's tricky too, because in my realm, when I first got into essential oils and stuff, I could say a whole bunch, and then, started being able to say less and less and less. And to the point where I'm like, I don't even know what to tell people anymore. I can tell them how I use it. But even in the, speaking of a personal story, I might accidentally say a word that's going to trigger something that's going to have a huge repercussion. It's like I feel like I'm tongue-tied. And
well, they want you to be tongue-tied physically and spiritually and emotionally. They don't want you to take risks. They don't want you to inform. They want you to obey. That's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem. And I think that um what was the what was that big website that used to be like a hyperlink website? Um the Drudge Report. The Drudge Report,
I've
you
heard
know?
of it. I've not gone on it
All
though.
right, so the founder of Drudge, he was friends with Alex Jones. All
Okay.
right. And he told Alex Jones before he before he sold out, and before Drudge sold his company. Um, and he basically said that the game's up. Wherever you are, everything is going to start to kind of get frozen. You're not going to be able to do as much. There's not going to be as much freedom. So wherever you are, it's kind of like, and it's only going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think he's right. We're starting to see it at the grocery store. There's less goods.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Way fewer goods.
Fewer of the same product and fewer choices of a similar product.
You got it. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's getting to where it's kind of creepy because every time I go in the grocery store, fewer and fewer items are there. Produce has been cut down to like a third of what it used to be. And all the other items, to your point, I mean, they're only going with the most popular, whatever sells best of those things instead of having a nice selection. I mean, it's getting to where we're going through and we're like, well, what's next? Can we eat? I have to just continue to make everything from scratch. I mean, I
Well,
enjoy
I think there is there's the cottage industry that has kind of rebooted, I guess. Um, and I think people are starting to realize they don't have to go out to eat all the time. And the
yeah.
quality of the food, going out to eat isn't that great in most
Okay.
cases. That's not true in all cases, but in most cases.
In most cases, yeah.
And there is there's a realization that we need to be able to squeeze the lemon more. You'd be amazed on how many different food items can be produced by just cooking chicken.
Mhm.
Just cooking a whole chicken. All right.
Oh, you can do a whole
What?
bunch of things with chicken.
Right. You got the chicken, but then you can make the gravy, and you can right, and you can make soups, and you can So there's a lot of things that you can do. But back in the day where everything was opulent and prosperous, right, people would just they roast their chicken, and that's it. They wouldn't use some of
They would use the bones and make a broth
right,
and make a
right,
chicken
right,
broth
right.
and then make chicken soup or use it to make
Right.
some other dish. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
So a chicken dinner may last a whole chicken, depending on the size of the family, maybe 1 or 2 nights.
about.
But if you stretch it out into soups and into sauces and
Mhm.
then you're stretching out that meal multiple days, maybe even to a whole week, you
That's
know,
exactly what we do here.
and I think more and more people are going to need to do that because, whole chicken is, I don't know, $30 or 40
Really
bucks, right?
expensive if you want a really good, pasture raised,
Right.
free chicken.
Right. But the thing is people need to stretch it out more. And America is not going to be as prosperous. And there's the hollowing out of the middle class because of technology, the artificial intelligence and robotics. And the if goods and services are going down in terms of what is available, then you won't need as many people working. So there's this gutting of the middle class. So people are either going to be very wealthy, because of the asset appreciation, especially in the stock market, or they're moving into the poor class as the middle class starts to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. Well, when I was a kid, the whole idea was the middle class was growing,
Mhm. I
and
remember
big
too.
part of that was a big part of that was the people that were, the middle class, had families, but not just that. The less the lower socioeconomic group was moving into the middle class.
Mhm.
right? And then you had also some people in the middle class moving into the rich category.
Mhm.
So, but what's happening now is that there's a squeeze for the middle class,
Yes.
and the poor, or the working poor, if you want, is growing.
Mhm.
So it's problematic, and it's so people need it. I think it goes back to that question, why do I like the even better bar? Well,
Get more bang for your buck.
the idea is that you have to have right. You have to you got to be able to stretch it and use it for multiple purposes
Mhm.
to really get through, to get for the average person. That's what they're going to need to start doing, and they're going to need to cut their their usage of, let's say, Netflix. Do they really need to waste so much time on Netflix? They really need to waste so much time on ESPN Plus? Do they really need to waste their time on such and such? So what will happen is that there's some of the fringe
Love
type
this.
luxuries are gonna just kind of dwindle away. But I just don't think that America is going to be as affluent in the aggregate for the next 20 years. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it was, the sun was rising in the 90s
Mhm.
and the 80s, and I feel as though, at least in the short term, meaning the next 10, 20 years, there's a sun setting. That doesn't mean that the sun doesn't rise again. It's just saying that there's a sun setting, and that arc is probably a 10 to 20-year arc of sunset. But and where you are in your life depends on how that's all going to play out. But yeah, so censorship is a problem, but it's more than just YouTube. It's mainstream media, and it's the cancelization. It's the infighting even within the alternative world, um, or the truth or world. Uh, and then, discernment. I just, so as I've created this module to try to teach people science and how the human body works, right? So I released something. I released the pulmonary module, right? And so before we even started this recording, I did a lecture on treatment of COPD and asthma, and what sort of pharmacology is used, allopathically, to treat asthma and COPD. Is one of the lectures that's tied to this pulmonary module, to get people up to speed so they can be more discerning. What I noticed over this 4-year arc of covering the crisis was not enough, quote, truthers or alternative people that didn't believe or didn't want to hear the mainstream news, and rightfully so started asking questions, and they started to formulate opinions. But not all opinions are educated opinions, and if you don't have an educated opinion, it may be misdirected. So if you build a base and you have a more educated opinion, you can go much farther with it. So now, for some people, some opinions, even though they may not have been educated, may have been right on how things started to emerge. But in many cases, not to throw certain people under the bus, but the thing is that in many cases, their assessment was wrong, and continues to be wrong, from a scientific basis. But they don't. But because of their lack of understanding of science, or lack of understanding of medicine, they don't fully understand that. Like, for example, case in point, to throw Alex Jones on the bus, because I don't mind. So Alex Jones stated, insurance companies are starting to notice that they have to pay out for increased expiration of individuals. Right? I'm being nuanced, right? The way I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
And he mentioned last night, as of this recording, the cause of it being a trying to walk a fine line here.
So you're going through what I go through, where you're tripping over
The
your
cause
words.
of it, the cause, right.
Mhm,
It's difficult to
Like,
walk the
this
fine
is what
line.
I go through because I don't know what to say.
So he is saying that the cause of it is through a certain mandate, all right, not through something that was respiratory.
Mhm.
So and he's saying that, and he's using the words all. He's using like words like all of the these expirations.
But he's not choosing his words very carefully.
All right, but the thing here is it's not so much that he's not choosing his words right, but it's just that he has this thought that, wrongfully so, because he doesn't have the scientific background, and he'll admit to that. So he's attributing all expiration on one thing, while the expirations are because of two things.
Mm,
All right, something that's respiratory and something that was mandated,
mm, gotcha.
or coerced, or something that was pushed.
Push,
Right.
yes. Yeah, that's
Right. Right. So,
Coerced
but
to-
here's the problem: is in the truther world, or the people that listen to Alex Jones, they will believe what he's saying, even though it's only half right.
Mhm.
By far, he's not he's not right. He's only half right, and
Mhm.
that's being generous, saying half right. But the thing is when you have a big channel or big show that has a big audience that's not scientifically discerning, you fall into the trap. And then when other people within the movement try to explain the nuance, well, he's partially right, and this is why. I fall in this category of trying to explain the nuance of this.
Mhm.
People have they have either discontent, or they have cognitive dissonance, or both. So they start hating you. Literally, I had a show with Mike Adams, and they had there was people that were in the comment section that says, Mike, why are you allowing Dr. Paul on here? He's saying things that are disagreeing with our thought of what happened during 2020. Well,
Whatever happened to philosophy? You're supposed to philosophize, right?
the whole point is to have freedom of speech through Brighteon, not to have a tin can echoing.
Yes.
I mean, if you're gonna, it's just the other side of this. If you want that, that's the other side of the spectrum of mainstream news.
Mhm.
It's tin can of mainstream news, or tin can of truther movement.
You should be able to debate and
Right,
new
right,
ideas and work
right.
through them and see
Right.
what's possible. That's what the great philosophers did.
Right, exactly. So all insurance data that's showing deaths to be at a higher rate is related to the push. I mean, I'm sure that there's a strata of ones that are of respiratory and ones that are of through the mandate, right? So, and people need, the big point here isn't that Alex Jones is wrong, even though he is, but the bigger point here is that people aren't discerning. And to fix this is to actually get it, to get people more discerning and more educated.
To question things. I mean, it really starts with questioning. Like when you look at
questioning, but also it's not just questioning.
Discernment is key too.
No, but a little kid and an adult can just question. But if the question is circular and they just question to try to make a point and not really get to truth, that's a problem. And I think that the truther, ironically, the truther movement is a circular questioning. that's not really wanting to put in the effort to have a baseline of understanding of anything. Like, for example, someone could question, right? And there are going to be people that go, okay, I don't understand something, right? And I'm going to try to learn that thing that I don't understand to be able to move forward, to be
Exactly.
able to be. But I would say that most of the truth or movement's not like that, Gail. I would say that only 20 or 30% of the truth or movement's like that. I would say, 80 or 70% of the truth or movement wants, they have a knee-jerk reaction, they are opinionated, and they don't want to really put in the effort to actually know something, to build a baseline, to have an educated opinion. Yeah, an opinion is different than an educated opinion.
Mhm.
Everyone can have an opinion. Anyone can ask a question, right? And people should ask questions. And
Mhm.
people should have opinions. I'm not saying don't have an opinion, but what I'm saying is that realize there's a difference between an opinion and an educated opinion.
Mhm.
That's, and so what happens is that this snowballs with big channels like Alex Jones saying something that's partially true, that snowballs and creates its own kind of story, its own world, its own dynamics,
Mhm.
right? So the whole idea here, to get back, is, so I created these modules to be able to have people pay $50 to learn about pulmonology. All right. So I have a bunch of lectures on my website. It's for the module for $50. There's 22 lectures with downloadable PDF files of all the slides. And I do a video lecture off of the PDF files and explain in detail about pulmonology in terms of treatment, in terms of embryology, in terms of anatomy and certain types of diseases, and the histology and the physiology. So there's a lot of information that one will learn. And from there is a great baseline to be able to carry on to another module that gives them more understanding about infectious diseases or cardiology or the renal system or other systems that I'll do lectures on. So this is a great way to, I think, try to solve the problem that I through my observation of covering the news of the crisis, to try to fill that gap of, well, if people actually spend the time and get a scientific base, a scientific foundation, they'll be able to be more discerning. And so they can question their own doctor. So you're reducing the power imbalance between the patient and the doctor, because there's a huge power imbalance because the doctor has more knowledge, right? And the patient in general does not have that scientific knowledge. Some do, but if you become more educated on how your body works, you can figure out a way to become more healthy by taking essential oils and taking supplements and watching what you eat and doing proper exercise and diet, because it's not just supplements, it's not just essential oils, but it's proper balancing, it's proper the resistance training, not too much but not too little, right? The Goldilocks. There's a certain level of cardiovascular fitness that one has to maintain. There is the challenging your brain, and reading and writing and talking to people. There's a lot of these things that are part of a more well-balanced, healthy individual to try to slow down the aging process, bring down that inflammation, and improve one's health. Because the way America is going, most people are unhealthy and they're not hitting all those pillars that I just mentioned, about proper health, proper diet, proper exercise, and mental acuity and all this stuff. So this is a way for them to they sign up for these lectures, and they watch the lectures and they learn from the PDFs and buy other modules on the website, and they literally learn on how the body works. And so when they go to their doctor and they have a problem, or they're in a checkup and the doctor wants to put them on a statin, and they'll have more understanding of what a statin does, how it helps and how it hurts, and what are some of the side effects of long-term usage of statins versus some other ways to try to control cholesterol. So so I just see this as a great way to reduce that power imbalance, build up that foundation. So when they hear something on the news that says do this, you can actually question, well, wait a minute, where's the class switching on that, for that process? If you do it this way, why? If you build, so that's where an important question, because of a foundational knowledge, is so much more important than just having a question and an opinion. So, for the ones that are listening, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, links in the description, and sign up for those pulmonology lectures and learn. One, you're going to be challenging your brain, and you're going to learn a lot of information for only $50. But this is the problem that I'm seeing, Gail, with the truther community. They want to hear David Hodges or Lisa Haven spouting off stuff they really don't know anything about. They really don't.
Sensationalized. That's the word I'm looking for. Sensationalized. They like want this entertainment. They watch these programs to get entertained while getting information. Whether that information is very good or not good, that's debatable. But they like that this.
It's like WWE. When I was a kid, it was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. It was and wrestling was real. And wrestling was and Roddy Piper and Slim Jim, whatever his name was. But and so all these guys, and everyone wanted to be entertained. It was mostly kids and 20-year-old guys watching this stuff. But I would say that now YouTube has allowed for channels to be this kind of same mentality, the WWF, and it's like, and it's just it's entertain. You're right, it's entertainment, and some people need their superhero. Maybe Alex Jones is a superhero in some people's eyes, or David Icke.
Maybe we're.
But you're right. It's like they're entertained with trying to get information wrapped up with opinions that don't really have a whole lot of foundation. Now, I'm not saying that everything they say is wrong. I'm just saying that there are some problems with the truther community because what's the foundation? Where's the soul root? Where does this all come from? And if it's coming from very little scientific background, then not all opinions are equal, right? And when people still have problems with trying to figure out what to really focus on during and post crisis, they're two different things. They're totally two different things. For acute and the chronic, or during the crisis, post crisis, these are different dynamics. And so everyone's got this like very simple black and white mindset, and and maybe I'm just asking too much. I don't know, out of people. I was really shocked, and I know you know this, but I was really shocked and really dismayed by finding out in 2020 the lack of scientific knowledge in the United States. The average person. The average person is really dumb. It's really dumb.
We always go back to look at the education system, and we were talking about how everything's about obeying, right? And just going along with what you're told to do and not really challenging or questioning, and heaven forbid you have critical thinking and so on. I mean, it's all tied together. I mean, if the way that people are being educated is to just regurgitate what is told to them as a fact, whether it's true or not, they don't get to question or investigate or research that much really on their own. And then they have to answer just multiple choice, and it's either right or wrong depending. And they just go through that whole system. I mean, it's just like we always talk about. It's just repeating the same problem and cycle, and then you have everyone. And so when you're talking about people being like dumbed down, so to speak, I hate to say it that way, I mean, again, as we've talked about so many times, I mean, if they're eating garbage food is what I'm going to call it. Sorry, I hate to offend someone, but that's what I view it as. I mean, if you're eating garbage food and you're getting polluted with all these toxins from all angles, and you're being told what to believe and how to think and how to act and how to obey, and I mean, that's why we have this problem. I keep going back to the whole system of education and also upbringing within the family. And that's why I keep coming back to this component of education and creating a curriculum where what you're doing could even be a part of it, actually, Paul. And I'm trying to still collaborate with people, even despite all these other issues I'm having in the background for the last few months, and trying to envision and create something that doesn't dumb down society, but actually uplifts and helps educate people. And to your point, question, but question with some kind of educational foundation. Okay, you got something for me.
You're absolutely right, and you're hitting on. You and I think very similarly. All right, we're not exact, but we're on a similar wavelength, and there's a frustration that's being built up. It might be because I'm older. It might be because I'm in New York. I don't know. But the thing is that there's a frustration building up in me seeing my country die. All right. It's dying. All right. And so that was the reason why when 2020 happened and I had that that inner core of existential threat, need to warn, get moving. Lots of things are happening. It's not just the crisis, but it's about the Biopatriot Act and certain elements that will usher in this 1984, Brave New World and Atlas Shrug all wrapped up into one bow, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and I knew it, and it's playing out. Okay, and before, when I had a really really small channel, no one knew me. All right, and I didn't have a bunch of haters right out there, um, and fans, but where I was just the average person, right? I would listen to David Hodges and Alex Jones and Mike Adams, right? Um, and Lisa Haven, and I would listen, but I was discerning, right? And this was like the Jay Helm days, and um, I started listening to Alex Jones like probably just right after 9/11, maybe, so I wasn't like an Alex Jones pre 9/11. It was more like post 9/11 Alex Jones watcher, and they are different. His show is different, and he evolved. I think his work on 9/11 and secret societies is his best work. But you know, but what I've noticed over time is that these people that have these big channels and a big following that's been doing this for multiple, like 10 years plus, all right, right? They're not solving the problem. They build up a channel to monetize to be able to continue to feed this entertainment, information, worry. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to play, right? I'm not going to play everything, but I just want to make a point, all right, of this. You know so much, Lisa. Why don't you solve the problem? All right. You know, instead of just trying to feed more garbage in the system, right?
Well, Paul,
Solve
I
the
just
problem.
want to throw in there
What did,
before you critique her work. We do need to tell your viewers that I have met her and I have taken a course with her, and for
well, I have no
being
idea what
a
she's going to say.
conservative. And wait, we have to like give this little thing here because I'm in Arizona and I actually really like Lisa and I've met her and she's very nice and she has my book. Whatever Paul is about to say has no reflection on my thoughts here, because you know, she has shown up for things that I have shown up for here in Arizona. So despite the fact that yes, this is a good example of what we're talking about, there are people that do still show up for things. So so go ahead and proceed, but I wanted to put that on
I
that
just,
point out.
I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to bash her. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make a statement. I'm trying to prove a point about the truther community.
Yes, and you're
Not
using this as
solving
an
problems,
example. Yeah.
only talking about problems. That's the point.
Yeah, no, but the viewers should know in the background that she has shown up for the same stuff I had shown up for back in 2020, 2021 and such too. So
And because we are not
she does
solving
believe strongly in things
Gail,
that I believe in.
Gail,
Mhm.
because we haven't solved problems, we are going to have the biopatriot ushered in.
I think
That's
we
the
are
issue.
all trying though. I think we really need to make a point that you tried sounding the alarm, right? I showed up for lots of things, right? The medical freedom
No,
movement.
Gail, you can't maintain almost a 500,000 subscriber channel and actually do the right thing. Period. Full stop.
So what I'm getting at is a lot of us have tried in our own ways. Now, to your point, yes, this is an example of how things are clickbait and they do generate revenue and they get the views and they can make a living off of it. But we should also state for this particular example, and I'm not saying that everyone does this, but for this particular example, I have met Lisa, so I can't, you know, say anything.
She's been saying this crap for 10 years. 10 years. Or damn near
I
10
also
years.
told you when I gave her my
Yeah.
book that she actually was very emotional and cared. And so,
Okay, all right, okay,
so,
all right, wait. So, all right.
so go ahead and give your example, but I have to say that because I'm on video with
I
you.
get it, I
And
get it,
I've
I get
met
it,
her.
I get it, I get it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let's hopefully this plays on my speaker here. No.
I'm really and truly afraid for our country.
Okay. All right.
Now,
All
I'm gonna
right.
do
Now, flag in the background. All right. So she's patriotic. All right. She has a lovely mic, and she's really patriotic for the country. All right. But she maintained just under 500,000 subscribers on a channel. And yes, she's had strikes on the channel. I'll give her that. But the thing is, how do you maintain such a large channel without actually really solving the problem? There's the issue here.
But do you know
And
what she's
people that
about?
actually
I
try
don't
to
even know what
solve the
she does in the
problem
background. So we
ended
don't
up
know what she's
losing their
involved in.
channel, either losing their channel or have been heavily censored. She's not heavily censored. She's not heavily censored because her channel's been growing. That's a fact.
It gets the views. So in the end, I mean, YouTube's about viewership, right? They make their money off of people watching.
They're about
right?
it's about viewership, and
Yeah.
what I mean, it's dependent on not just the company but also the one that is doing the channel,
Yeah,
who has
so
the channel.
both benefit.
From the
You
perspective of the
benefit,
company,
she
they want channels that they can put ads on. And now, from the perspective of the channel owner, they want to create content that could be monetized, but not just that, to create more viewers, to accrete more viewers.
Absolutely.
All right.
You get
I don't believe that Lisa Haven was heavily censored during the crisis. I don't believe it. You can't grow it. That anyone that was heavily censored, that was actually in the know and was actually pushing the buttons, they had their channels blown up and they lost a lot of subscribers. So Alex Jones got knocked down before the crisis.
I think the big question here, Paul, is why is it that she's able to maintain up and people like Alex Jones and David Icke and all the others that we've named,
and Mike Adams were not
Mike Adams, have not been able to maintain their presence on YouTube? That's really the key question that I'm curious about. Why is it that she is allowed to stay up? Now, bless her heart, she's able to stay up. That's great. That's good for her business. But why is she able to stay up and these other people are not? So that is really something.
Because certain
curious
people
about.
are certain people aren't pushing the right button to get the job done, and they just push enough buttons to get people angry.
That's very possible.
All right, so let's just,
in my power to make sure that I'm out there spreading and sharing information, because they're not going to stop me no matter what happens. But either way,
let
I
me
have
read the
to
title
really
first.
push right now.
I'm not sure how long I'll be here. This is government document has dire consequences. I don't know what she's talking about because I stopped listening to her a long time ago because I just can't stand her.
Well,
But
if it's a clickbait title to get people's attention, because
censor
they're going to
anyone
want to
who's out
listen,
there
right, to the
speaking
drama.
truth is massive.
all right, so let me just go through it a little. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just making a point.
Suppression is going to be used to convert the entirety of our internet and social media into some kind of propaganda ministry for those people pushing a narrative that they want pushed. And it's a real fear that I have, because
That's an element of the Bio-Patriot Act, where you have you don't have freedom of speech. So it's the erosion of the First Amendment. I said this in 2020, that the reason to galvanize wasn't because of something floating around that could kill you, but it was the killing of the Constitution. That was more important to say, but people didn't see. The problem is that the truth, there's multiple dynamics of what I'm trying to expose here, Gail. Is that the truther community is built on a false on false ground. They don't really want to protect the Constitution, because if they did, why didn't they act in 2020? They didn't. They flat out didn't.
Actually, like I said, as my little disclaimer, she showed up to the same stuff I was showing up for here in Arizona. So we can't.
No, but the thing here is that
others. We can say others were not showing up.
There's too much talk and no action. There's too much talk, no action.
We were trying to educate ourselves, and we were trying to.
You can educate yourself to oblivion, Gail. It don't matter if you don't act on it.
A lot of us were trying. We were doing a lot of different.
Make sure that you guys.
So she's whining. She's whining.
And right
she's
now,
whining that there's the erosion of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Okay, right, she's whining about that. All right. Why is she surprised? She's been covering this for 10 years and how this thing's been eroding.
That was put together by our House of Representatives. And this document really reveals the level that, even more specifically, not only just the Biden administration.
All of her shows are like this. Every single show is like
gone through to censor freedom that I've seen. And it should be at the very top of our list as far as concerns. And I say that because if you can't get the information and the truth out to people, then they can tell you whatever they want. And slowly but surely, the entirety of, say, the United States of America and even the globe, because they're wanting to do this globally, will be brainwashed into believing whatever narrative they want those people to believe. This is how communist regimes thrive. This is how regimes like China, who have very suppressive governments, and Kim Jong-un. This is
how I interpret this is Monday morning quarterbacking. See, the ones that people should be listening to are the ones that are warning early on that something is happening and that you must act, or this, and this will happen. This is already too late. This is already too late.
But some people are just waking up. It needs to come.
It's too late, Gail. It's too late. Even if people are waking up, it's too late.
That might be our opinion.
The constitutional freedoms are gone. Past tense.
But it's still important to get the word out there so people understand what's happening. Now, obviously, this is the example of sensationalism, but it also is making valid points, in my opinion.
She's saying what she does on her show is she'll bring up this is a big document that just was released or is being released. It's going to erode your constitutional freedom.
Well,
Now
that's how
roll
you
back
get
5
yours.
years ago.
That's
Roll back
exactly-
5 years ago before the crisis, and she's saying something very similar. She said the same thing about J-Helm. She's saying she's there, or event two.
It is true that we do have to
Agenda 2020 or Agenda 2030.
But it's true though, on these platforms, we should repeat ourselves often. We get new viewers, we get people that are just waking up. So we have to also just
if you just woke up and you're just, you know, what was his name? Rip Van Winkle? You know, if you just woke up after your 70-year, sleep, it's too late. It's too late.
You know, we can definitely
the moment in time.
I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but I am.
The moment in time.
People are still trying.
The moment in time to act was in 2020, and it didn't happen. People were focused on one thing, which was the wrong thing to focus on. I don't want to get into the details of what they focused on. Everyone knows, but they focused on the wrong thing. They didn't focus on, and it's an erosion of the constitutional freedoms now that we have. And the path that we're on is irreversible.
We're on 4 years. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, right, and and we have a world of Gestapo. Everything I said that was going to happen with the Patriot Act, it's happened. It's happened.
So I think the bigger question is it possible to stop this? Like really, truly, honestly, is it possible to stop this? Because people are still sounding alarms, hoping they have hope that they can stop this. So the question is, can we, the people, stop this?
I think the bigger question is, I don't think it's a good question, but I think the better question.
When will we?
It's a good question, but the better question is asking the people, do they have the backbone to stop it? And I don't believe they do.
Well, that's another good question. And
I don't believe that they do, because America's been, in this comfortably numb state of prosperity where they don't know what it is to do without. They don't know what it is to sacrifice. They don't really understand what it means to actually protect and fight for the constitutional freedoms. And so, we see it on CNN, or we see it, in some sort of proxy war. We don't see our cities get blown up. We blow up cities in other countries far, far away. See? So once the American citizen starts to actually feel that they have some skin in the game, or they have, that their back is against the wall, they're not going to react. And so I'm not trying to go after her. I'm just trying to make a statement of the movement in general. And that is a lot of talk, no action. A lot of, we need to inform the public.
For a majority.
Time you inform enough of the dumbasses out there, it's already passed in Congress, and try to reverse it now. It's too late. It's like we
can always go back to the.
If you have a business, you do. And you have goals, and at the end of the year, you put on your managerial hat and go, did you meet that goal? Why or why not? Right. Mm-hmm. Right. You do an assessment. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to bet that if you assess over a 10-year period on Dave Hodges or Lisa Haven, right, over those 10 years, and you look at what they were saying, how much of it did they actually stop? I would say like less than 1%. It's all talk, no action. All talk, no action. Maybe their heart's in the right place. I don't know. I'm not God. But it seems to me that they benefit personally by just keeping it going. For example, if we actually solve the problem where we don't need her on a channel telling us the next crisis, let's just say
Then what does she do for
Perfect
business?
world, what would she do? Not
Mhm.
much, because there's not much skills there.
Well, she has other skills, I'm sure. I'm sure she could do something with education for
I doubt
children.
it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it.
We don't know. We don't know her personally.
I doubt
I would
it.
assume that she
The
could do
point
something
here is that
with
they
education.
need perpetual problem.
For their
Just
business, yes, that's correct.
They don't solve a problem. They communicate a problem.
So she's a very good communicator, which is why I'm saying that
They
she
communicate a
should
problem.
do
We have a
communication.
government that is giving us tyranny. Well, I could have read that a long time ago, in books. I don't need Lisa Haven to tell me that.
But other people.
The problem is how do you galvanize?
As much as we do, we read way more than many other people. So other people need it from different forms. They need the YouTube, they need a poster, they need, everyone has different ways of absorbing information.
I don't know. I'm not so sure that it's a genuine. It's not
It's
the
a
right
mix
word.
of, it's a business, there's the sensationalism, you have to have the clickbait, but at the same token, I can say from personal experience that, she has shown up for things that I've shown up for. I don't know her personally, I can't speak personally, but I have to at least say what I have seen.
We have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of channels out there that are similar to her. All right.
Yeah.
They're similar, right? They're saying something there, and they have a following, but where is the fix? Stop talking
People
and
need
fix it.
solutions, right? So a lot of these channels like Peggy Hall's The Healthy American offers solutions. You and I have talked about solutions. Remember back in the day, I mean, we were offering all kinds of ways to work the legislative system or to go to certain meetings to change the frequency coming out of the towers or to inhibit more towers being put up or whatever it is. There were things that we've tried to do to offer very tangible solutions. And same with, medically, right? We offer ideas of oils and supplements and bars and teas and tinctures and foods and what have you. So we are offering solutions. I think that, someone just, it would be great if we constantly had more people offering solutions. A lot of times people don't know what to do. At the same token,
If the truther movement was successful, then Lisa Haven and Dave Hodge would be obsolete. They would not
for
be.
that business, correct? They'd have to pay.
They would not be needed. And the thing
But
is
Dave
like
Hodges comes from a background
best
of education. That's why he's such a good communicator.
The best nonprofit is a nonprofit that wants to be not needed because they solve the problem. There is a problem. They try to, some sort of social problem that they're trying to fix. They fix the problem and they're not needed and they dissolve. That's what we need with the truthers. We need the problem solved so Lisa Haven isn't around. We need the problem solved so we don't have Dave Hodge. We need the problem solved so we don't have Alex Jones.
Well, to a certain extent, I'm sure these people want the problem.
And they don't want. No. I disagree.
But,
No.
Then they lose their business. So I understand what you're saying.
They want to create. They want to create followers, and they want notoriety, and they want monetization. They care more about that than the actual country.
I can't say if that's true or false because I'm not them. So
I don't.
I would say that you make a very good point.
You can't maintain.
That allows people to focus on their business.
You can't maintain. Look at what happened to myself and Stephen Molyneux.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Right on the edge, right when all this was happening, right, and explaining to the public, to a large public, what our assessment was at the time. I believe this was in March and April of 2020.
Yeah, I still have.
He had just under 1 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You both really did a phenomenal job.
And to his credit, he did things to try to inform the public to stop a crazy train that led to the blowing up of his channel. All right. I would have a different tune if she did something similar. She didn't. I would have a different tune on Dave Hodge if he did something similar, but he didn't. So the point here is you can tell who the real people were by the way they covered the crisis. The ones that bled, were bled subscribers and demonetized and channels blown up, and
They were
those
on
are the
money.
people you want to listen
They
to.
were on the mark.
Those are the people
Not
you
what they
want
were
to listen
saying.
to, not these people that just will read a document to you and say, you need to worry about it. Oh, by the way, I have something similar that I said, that happened that they said 5 years ago and they didn't do anything about it. And they'll another 5 years they won't do anything about it. As the thing is that what they're talking about is like boilerplate stuff, just
That's how they stay up, though.
reconfigured,
That's how they're-
repackaged, right? But the solution, there's no solution.
That's how they're able to stay up, because they're just regurgitating information that anyone else can research.
And then they put on, the emotional fallacy, and, the flag in the background and the slow, important talk on the mic. I need to really inform you that there's this tyranny that's arising in Congress with these documents that have been released, and I'm really worried about our constitutional freedoms. Okay, let's do the rewind on VHS. 5 years ago, she's saying the same damn thing.
Well,
Solve the
this is their
solution.
business.
Solve
Okay?
the solution.
It's a show.
Get to the root cause. We have a crazy government, the national security state that needs to be taken down. It doesn't need to get any more complicated than that. It's that simple. It's in a 30-second
Well,
soundbite.
if you say it that directly, they're going to take down your channel. There's your business. Down the toilet.
Yeah, but what the thing is what's more important? Saving the Constitution and the freedom of children to have a better future, or maintaining a 500,000 subscriber base on YouTube?
Well, you already know that I think that it's more important to save.
This is the point that I'm making.
However,
It's about soul root. This people's soul roots. You can tell that, there's certain people, it's like they're trying to do the right thing. And, some people don't want to listen. Some people will try to help. Some people will try to not help, but they're trying to move the ball and tell the people what they really need to do. But then there are other people that'll say, these are the problems, but they're not willing to tell the people what they really need to do. And talk is not the answer, Gail. Talk it's gone. That the talk and deliberation and informing the public and trying to get people informed about the loss of constitutional freedoms. And try to use an analogy. When, and this is coming more from a Judaic Christian thought here, but I don't know about Buddhism or anything like that. But the thing is that when you die, the whole idea is that everyone has a soul, or a series of souls, right? There's different types of souls, and that they need to be purified when you die.
Mhm.
All right, because of the schmutz of living is unholy. All right, so there has to be a purification of the soul. All right, and everyone will have to, and some people call it Gehenna, some people call it hell, some people, whatever it is. All right, but the thing is that there is a purification. So everybody will go through the fire. Everybody, as their soul is being purified. Just like how the slaughtering of animals during the temple times had to be on fire. They had to be, they had to be burnt, right? There's a purification that has to take place. So there's a soul that's purified. All right. Well, you can take that same analogy, is that over time, because of the gluttony of America, there's schmutz on the Constitution. There's schmutz in our constitutional freedoms. There's schmutz on just the way Americans live. So you can look at this from a metaphysical level of schmutz, and you can go to the inner city and see the schmutz. All right? The actual physical manifestation of defecation in New York on the MTA, or the metaphysical schmutz because people, the way they live in America. All right? But for that to change, not only does the tree of liberty have to be fed by the blood of patriots, but the people are going to have to go through a purification.
Bingo.
And that purification is going to be going through a wave of fire.
Each person.
And
needs to
until
work
the
on himself first.
truther community starts thinking that they are going to actually have to go through suffering to become more purified, to be able to maintain and support the Constitution, it's going to erode. Instead of just saying, well, this, it's almost like watching, I don't know, what was his name on ABC? Peter Jennings. Watching Peter Jennings, at night while you're, eating your TV dinner back in the 80s. All right, you're eating your TV dinner, you're watching Peter Jennings, and he's just telling you how the world's going to hell, and you're satisfied because you got that brownie as a dessert in your TV dinner.
Oh my God, I remember those brownies.
Right. But that's America. That's America.
America, yeah.
And what was going on in the 80s on ABC and Peter Jennings and the TV dinner is no different than the Big Mac and watching Lisa Haven. Until the truthers realize that they need to go through that fire and get purified and get the schmutz off of you.
But I wouldn't limit it to the truthers, Paul. I would say that everyone needs to work on himself and herself. And that's part of why we're here. And that's part of the journey. And that's part of
But I'm making it simplified, Gail. I'm making it simplified, saying, truthers, non-truthers. All right. I know that the composition of people it's much more dynamic and complex. I know that. All right. But I'm using the term truther as the one that wants to protect our constitutional freedoms and to have less government, but they're not really willing to do anything about it. They'll talk, they're not willing to do anything about it.
Because they have to work on
themselves.
The
anti-truthers I'll throw them in the category of the ones that are trying to erode your constitutional freedoms, trying to support, deep state or the national security state or, the tyranny of government. So you have these two main groups.
And they want
to be left alone. They want their constitutional freedoms, and you have the other side that's trying to take away constitutional freedoms and more tyranny. All right, and that group that wants to take away your constitutional freedoms, they want the truthers just to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and eat their brownies and smoke.
Distractions. They always work. They have been working. Right? So you got to get past all the distractions. But just so you know, I do have to go in no more than 10 minutes because I have to do other things.
So because because this is PNN, right? Not CNN.
PNN.
I have to go to commercial. So we did product placement for Gail. I'll be really quick with my product placement.
Okay.
To get the schmutz off your teeth, just make sure you go and get my toothpaste. It's structural nanosilver toothpaste, and it helps to neutralize.
And I use it. See, pretty teeth.
It helps neutralize pathogens. It whitens teeth, freshens the breath, and gets the schmutz off. Right? My anti-aging protocol is 3 pillars. It's very simple: bring down inflammation, neutralize pathogens, and neutralize free radicals. To bring down inflammation and control your blood glucose levels, ashwagandha root. So go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Take it also with the turmeric, which is, it brings down the inflammation. Also, it is an antioxidant to neutralize the pathogens. Take the Max 35, swish it in your mouth, gargle it, swallow it. Take a teaspoon of it a day. If you're not feeling well, take a tablespoon or 2 a day. And C60, which is a very strong antioxidant. It will neutralize free radicals, get your cells healthier. You take a teaspoon of this a day. I also have it in avocado. This one is in coconut. I have it in 2 ounce, 4 ounce, and an 8 ounce configuration. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and follow the protocol, the anti-aging protocol. That's one way to improve your health. And also, start going to the store, Gail's store, and start purchasing some of these essential oils to, add to your health protocol, because the key is proper supplementation, proper diet, proper exercise, proper balancing, proper challenging of your brain. That means reading, writing, and talking to the real world, not being a keyboard warrior. And, doing that on a regular basis is going to slow down the aging process, help to boost up your immune system, and you are going to be, I think over time you'll start to realize that you're going to be healthier physically and emotionally. So it's like this holistic approach, right? And if something does come up where you need care, medical care, see a doctor. Don't let it fester, right? But a big part of medicine is preventative medicine. But if it goes too far, then you may need, more potent treatment to get through the ailment. With that said, Gail, we got to get people that are truthers active, not just talking. There's just too much talk. You play what the truthers were saying pre-crisis, and it's the same garbage. It's the same garbage. Now, prove me wrong.
Well, first step is each person needs to work on himself and herself. And then from there, you'll be guided and figure out, where you can best help and what to do. Also communicating with others, building community, finding like-minded people, networking, joining up and meeting up and having local talks about these things. There are so many different ways to start trying to take action. The biggest, and I do have to go soon, but I'll just say that the biggest problem I've encountered is that most of these groups don't want to all work together. And time again, I see that then, they want all the acknowledgement, or somebody wants to be more important, and they're missing the point of the whole reason why everyone's gathering and what they're trying to do. And this was really prevalent in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. So, maybe you and I can do a future show on ideas and solutions for people. And I can talk about exactly, where I went, what I did. I've journaled everything. So I have all the notes of, all these different ways and what I've tried, and maybe people can
the schmutz, Gail, the schmutz is just more now than it was in 2020, in 2021 and 2022. The schmutz is more. There's more hate, there's more schmutz, there's more, and I'm telling you, it's purification. And that means kinetic, that means a whole lot of things. Talk is over. If you really want to save the country, talk's over.
So you know what? So here's an idea, if somebody really is looking at everything, start thinking of ways, like if you're a mom with children, start thinking of ways to stay home with your children. Stop thinking of, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or this or that. If your state allows, start by working with your own children. If you don't have children, then maybe start working with other people's children or work in education. And then if you can't do any of that, maybe join one of these groups and see what you can do. There's always a way. My favorite book as a child was Rabbit Finds a Way. There's always a way if there's a will. Volere potere, where there's a will, there's a way. Vouloir pouvoir, however you want to say it. I mean, there's so many different talks that can be had between the two of us about different ways. So anyway, I have to get going because I have to make deliveries. Otherwise I would sit here longer and chat about these ideas and things, but we'll have to save that for a future show. So to be continued, that'll hopefully get people to tune in for a future program.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on to the show, Gail. And for the ones that are watching, please click on the links below this video to get to Gail's store. All right. So thank you again. Say goodbye to everybody before I stop the recording.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Wait, you got to give me permission.
I know. I said that earlier too. I was going to have to give. All right. Remind me how I give you permission. I always forget.
Yes. Set me. You have to participants and set
participants. Thank you. I always forget. We have this like every time, which is great. Because every time they get just a little longer of us. Like the after show.
All right. Okay. Wait. So let's see.
People love these.